Hey guys, hope we've got another interesting video for you today. I'm going to be fitting some spotlights to the Freelander, so let's go on and see what we can do. Hey guys, so yeah, we're fitting two spotlights to the front of the Freelander today. This could be sort of a generic video for anyone who's looking to fit spotlights. It's going to be much the same process if you're doing it the way we are. So hopefully as you go throughout the video you can sort of relate it back to your vehicle, but I'll be doing it on the Freelander that I'm using for my project. So I'll show you what we've got now. I will say up front as well, this is a sponsored video. So a company called Kuda very generously donated two of their spotlights to me. So they sort of sent me out two of these spotlights and basically just gave me an open blanket plan on how I wanted to fit them. Gave me a lot more freedom in that sense to do how I wanted to get it, wiring kits, brackets, things like that. So what they've sent out is, I can get on the video, two of these sweet stuff 9-inch HID spotlights, floodlights. I think these come under the category of. So these are quite big, just to show a comparison for size. That's it in comparison to my head. So they are pretty big. So I'm looking at getting them, gently putting it down, I'm looking at putting them in behind, well, just above the license plate, so a bracket coming up and around. There were quite a few generic ones on eBay, Amazon, etc. that fit as a plate in behind the license plate and then bend up round. But I found they didn't have the depth on them. A lot of them were quoting sort of 50 odd mil, 60 mil, etc. Because these are HID and they're quite big, you can tell they're quite deep. And I was finding that they were sort of a couple of mil off. It wasn't far. So I've already sort of put them together, but I bought these 90 mil angle irons. Now these are just from, I think it was Tool Station. I put links to everything down below. And I've kind of mocked up how I'm going to be fitting them now. So this is going to be on the back of the license plate. It's going to come up and over, and the spotlight's going to mount on here, facing outward. I've got load dispersing sort of washers, with smaller washers in behind, and then a socket cap sort of screw there, and then a riv nut. So as I go through, I'll be talking about how I'm going to fit it, etc., and how it's all going to work as it goes on. I've got the wiring kit. This is a dual light one, so it's got the attachments for two lights on it, so I don't have to buy two different relays. So I can just buy one relay and it's going to do everything on it. It did come with this little switch on it, but I didn't really like it. It's a good switch, but I don't like it. I don't think it's very in fitting with the Freelander. So I've gone ahead and bought a classic old school mini style, classic historic racing kind of style rocker switch, which just sounds nicer in my opinion, and should be more in fitting with the sort of look and feel of the Freelander as well. But obviously if you're doing a different car you can keep that. And then just some sticky pads for the license plate that goes back on. But other than that, there's not really much else you need. Like I said, I'll go through it as I'm fitting it and we'll show you everything we're going to do. But yeah, no, huge thank yous for Kuda for sending these out. I didn't think I'd be getting to fit spotlights this early on, especially not 9-inch HIDs. So they are colossal things, so hopefully this is going to be really cool. And maybe once they're done I can go out for a quick sort of night venture and sort of show you guys how they perform as well. So we'll see how this video comes out and we'll see what we can get done for you guys. But yeah, other than that, let's go on and fit them. Okay, so I'm just heading out to see my resident electrician who's going to be helping me fit these. Again, I cannot believe my luck with the weather. It is very sunny, a bit cold still, but very sunny, very dry. So this should make, hopefully, the video a little bit easier to make and hopefully a little bit better for you guys to view. So yeah, hope you enjoy this one. Let's get over there and get these fitted. Okay guys, so I'm here now where we're going to be fitting the spotlights. So the first job is going to be getting this license plate off. So the brackets are likely to go just on the inside of where the bolts are for the license plate. So they're going to likely have one in here and one in here, just because the lights are quite big. I don't want them too central, I don't want them tapping, and I want a bit of room between them as well, because I think they look a bit silly if they're really cramped together. So we're going to look at just sort of spacing them just sort of shy of those bolts on either side, and then going from there. So yeah, first job, getting the license plate off.
Gee, that was a bit secure, not?
One. Okay, anyway. Okay, so we've drilled 4 holes, so I've measured 4.5 inches in, 4.5 inches in. These are going to be 9mm holes for the riv nuts. We've made the plastic slightly bigger so you can push the riv nut on past the plastic and onto the steel. So I'm just going to get those in and set those now, and I'll show you how we set them when we put them in. Okay, so we've got the 4 riv nuts pushed through into the crash bar, so they're not on the plastic anymore, so we had to drill out this a little bit further, the plastics, a bit wider than the lip on the riv nut, bored those out to 9mm, and then just push the riv nut straight through. So the riv nuts are now inside onto the crash bar rather than the plastics. It should make this a little bit more sturdy when we mount it all up. So now it's just going to be a case of setting those riv nuts in the right place and make sure they crimp onto the crash bar as well. So let's go and do that. Okay, so the riv nuts set. The way we did that was, on most of them, putting a 10mm socket on there, washer, pushing up against there. The socket pushes the riv nut in, and as you screw it in, crimps the back of the riv nut, holds them in there. So the next step is just putting the brackets on there, so let's get on with that. Okay, so the lights are on. We've just put the brackets on in here, done it up on this, and then we've just used these little back bolts here, which are fixing bolts to fix the cord on, so there's not much play in the bulb, so they'll stay there nice and solid whilst they're driving along, because otherwise you're going to have a lot of play in there and they're going to flop all over the place. So, next part now is wiring them in. So it's going to be a fun job. Okay, so it's the next day now. As you can tell by that video, it got pretty dark pretty quick. It was also freezing cold all of a sudden, so I didn't really have the chance to stop recording what we were doing because we were just getting too cold doing it. So I'm going to go through now. The spotlights are on, they are working, so I will show you them. And I'll show you how we wired them in, how we routed the cables, etc. And how I wired the switch. And there was a thing about that as well. And then I also go back to last night where I then actually went off-roading afterwards. So I'll attach a lane to the end of this as well, so it's going to be a slightly longer video. But you get to see them sort of performing off-road a little bit, so how I'm going to be using them. So yeah, let's go and have a look at the spotlights. Okay, so here they are on the front, nicely positioned where I wanted them. With these screws, we did have to get extended screws for these, so what I've done is I've stuck those, I bought 6mm pads and I've stuck them in behind, and then I've put extended screws here, and that kind of keeps it nice and flush on there without it rattling around too much. So that's pretty solid on there now as well, and the lights don't get too much in the way. So in terms of wiring them in, we started, if you're going to see it in here, down in here. So in here, if it's not best for lighting here, but in there you'll see there's like a little grommet, and you pull that out, and where that will bring it out, if I come around here, is up inside here. So under where your brake pedal is, well, above where your brake pedal is, again I don't have the best lighting here, there we go. Where are we looking? Up on that pad there, there you go, you can see it in the middle there coming through. That's where it comes through in relation to pedals here, just straight up in, and it comes out where that sort of break in the sort of little rubbery lining is. That's where it came through. So we started it there, and we brought it straight up here, into here, and we tucked it in along here. So it runs in along, tucked under the rubber, push that in a little bit, all along here. Comes out here, and I did tuck it into here, but it's come out a little bit. Tucked it into here, I'm going to neaten it up a little bit over time, and then we've got this bit here. So we've attached the relay to this bit, comes down onto the longer wire, comes to the positive here. So this is the positive one that comes to the battery on the positive, and there's a negative one that we've attached up onto this bit here. Now there was a random extra wire here that just had no end on it, and that has to go to a positive feed. So in the back of the relay there's a positive feed, so we took that wire out, joined them together and pushed it back in again with a bit of solder. So then that connects that up for your switch. From the sort of relay and sort of fuse, which is sort of tucked in, we come along here underneath and we bring it out where the headlight join is here. So there's a gap there, and then back in here, and there's just enough room on this little corner piece here to get the cable through. So then it has to come down here. The longer one came down this way diagonally to this one and comes out here, and the shorter one was this side and just basically dropped straight down. Easiest way we did this was we used something that was a bit more rigid than the cable. So I stuck like a semi-rigid bit of plastic piping down here, diagonally across, and pulled it through. Tied this to the end of it, or sellotape this to the end of it, and then pulled it on through using that, rather than trying to get the cable through, because the cable is a bit soft, it just droops down. Got like a semi-rigid bit of thin plastic, put it at a diagonal angle, sellotape the end of the cable to it. As you pull that plastic through, it pulls the cable on down through and brought it with it. So hopefully that explains it enough. The fuse we've just tucked down in under here, that has been bolted to the bolt that goes onto the, I think it's the fuse box in there. And like you say, that little red cable you just solder into the other positive that's going into the back of the relay, and then push it back in again, and that'll keep it in there nice and fixed. And then that one goes to the positive there. Like I said, I'm going to tidy up a little bit over time, and hopefully get that up. I'm looking to take this black box out and feed it in underneath that way. The only other thing I did as well for the switch, we didn't have quite enough length on it, because I was planning on doing it to this bit here, but I didn't have the length on it. So conveniently you've got the gaps here where the parking sensor button is. This switch unfortunately doesn't fit in there, and as you can tell it's permanently lit up as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy in one of these that's supposed to go in here. I think it's the front fog light switch, and I'm going to wire it into that. That way it's a completely stock standard black button. Much more, probably a little bit more even in keeping than this one obviously, and it's going to fit into that grate perfectly. And then once that's on there, throwing it all over the place, this bit of plastic can just go back on the front there, and I'll have the parking sensor light and the front fog light, and it's going to look completely stock, but it's going to turn on those fog lights. So I hope that's enough to explain how I fit them. Hopefully, like you say, if you have any other questions, obviously put them in the comments, and I'll put down any other questions. Well, I'll try and answer any other questions you've got. But that's the min, and like we said, with these were the little bullet connectors that I got with the switch. So obviously I'll put a link to all of these on there, and then we just used some stainless steel cord in through these bolts, because I think these are here for this exact reason. Pulled them taut, pushed these forward, pulled these taut, and then use those bullet grips and tighten that up on there. So they're like little guitar strings now, and they stop them from wobbling. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, hopefully you found it useful. So let's go back to last night where I was off-roading. Okay, so we are back to the first night. I'm back in my clothes that I was in earlier. I've brought us to the lane that I did last time, so I'm hoping you can see me on this camera. I didn't have my flashlight on me for recording again, so I hope this is enough where you can see some of me. And out the front as well, I've set up the camera up here. Look at the front exactly the same as it did last time. So right now I'm on full beam. There's your dip beam, there's my full beam. So what I'll do is I'll probably, if I can, leave a link to the previous video up in here or at the end, and you can compare the difference. So we fit the spotlights now, so let's get going on the lane. So let's turn these lights on. They're going to take a couple of seconds to warm up, so you'll see a little flash and then they'll take a few seconds to warm up, and hopefully we'll see quite a big difference out the front in a moment. So what I found so far with the HIDs is the range is much better, then also the colour. It lights everything up almost like daylight in front of me. So that's the biggest difference, is I can see everything. I mean, if I turn full beam off now, you can see there's not really any difference in terms of overall lighting distance wise. A little bit around the sides, but not a huge amount going forward. So let's see how we do on this lane now with the spotlights on. Like I said earlier on, these were HIDs. The ballasts are actually integrated, like any sort of decent spotlight. The ballasts are integrated, so you don't need to worry about getting a ballast kit as well as a relay to put the mirrors in. Yeah, so they've actually got the ballast kits inbuilt on these, so that's quite a nice little feature. And I think they got supplied with a 55 watt HID bulb, as well as the brackets for mounting them. So I bought my own little brackets, those little 90-degree bends. So it's a little bit wetter than last time. Keys are flying around everywhere. So hopefully the train's not too bad. There we go, now they're coming in. So I thought I'd do this lane again because it was great fun last time, and I thought it'd be a bit more of a challenge in the rain, but with the spotlights it hopefully show a bit of a difference. So I'm definitely noticing the difference. I don't know if the camera's going to pick up on it, or if it's too bright for the camera. I hope not. It's not causing hot spots on there. In theory I could aim them a little bit higher, get a little bit more range out of them. That's all stuff to play around with. I did notice I had a bit of wobble on them when we fit them, just because those angle irons, you know, they're pretty darn strong, but it's almost impossible to eliminate all of it. So we put some cord on the back, like you saw. I'm still impressed by this thing getting up itself like these tyres. And I'm probably going to make minor improvements along the way. I might add one more angle iron in the middle and connect them up through a beam across the middle. Just to sort of strengthen it up, but I might do an update video at some point for that. But other than that, this light is so much better. I mean, if I show a comparison, if I turn them off here, I don't know if the camera picked up on the difference in the light there and how much you're seeing, and then now it's incredible difference. Like the colour as well, it's not just the overall amount of light, it's the colour we're getting in. These are deeper than last time. Bit of throttle, wheel spin, and we're out. So yeah, that colour is amazing. It's not, like I say, it's not just the distance that's shining, it's the colour it's giving. You know, everything looks more like daylight now. It's very impressive. nice little straight bit here if I turn them off. Then you're picking up the the camera's picking up the difference. I don't know if that camera auto adjusts the light or not. But there you go. So I could probably aim them a little bit up. They are a little bit low. There's all stuff to play around with. Maybe a fraction anyway. No, actually pretty good. Oof. Oh dear, look at this bit, it's very slushy. So let's get up to that bit. And down, and down. camera that I used, so not quite as good. As I can see I'm getting a bit of shake on the spotlights. I can see I'm getting a bit of wobble on them over some of the harsher bumps. Not really enough that bothers me, in fairness. They're still doing their job. They might be aimed slightly low, but it's hard to tell because this train's going up and down all the time. So this is the first time, literally the first time I've used them. Well, apart from the little test before I started. And that's the end of the lane. So I hope you guys enjoyed that, and I'll see you back at the house. Hey guys, so I hope you enjoyed that one. It was really good fun to do, and you know, I really appreciate Kuda sending those out. I'll drop a link for them in the video in the description below. It was really good. It was really good fun. I've used them a few more times now, driving to work and back, and you know, it makes a huge difference, especially out on the open road. The distance those lights get, I have moved them ever so slightly up, and then the distance they get down the road is incredible. And again, it's that colour as well. So where they're that sort of white, nice sort of white with a slight tint of blue, it's like daylight in front of you. Makes a world of difference. Like, so we say, you know, if you're driving along and someone comes on the other way and you turn them off, suddenly your vision's gone. You know, and it hasn't really. It's just you're used to that better light, and it is a bit like that. So, I mean, just from a safety point of view, they're incredible. Just driving down the road with them on. And another thing is they're E-marked, so the bulbs and everything else, they're all in there, and as it comes, they're E-marked, so you can legally use them on the road, and you can go through an MOT without having to worry about any of that kind of rubbish as well. So really appreciate that from Kuda, and I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I got some really exciting stuff coming up soon as well, possibly even my first show. So yeah, stick around, stay on the channel, like and subscribe, and it's really helping this channel grow, really helping me do more stuff, and we'll see where this is going to take us. So see you guys again.